Hi everyone, welcome to iFashi. Today's tutorial will be teaching us how to make this beautiful dress you're seeing on your screen. It's a very simple dress. I got the inspiration on Pinterest, which is this black you're seeing here, and I decided to make some tweaks to it so that mine will come out a bit different. In this tutorial, you get to see how we also added some embellishments to beautify this very simple dress. And in this tutorial, we'll also be answering questions like this: how to avoid zipper budges on straight dresses that doesn't have any half length cut. You see how very flat this zipper is laying on my back? You'll get to see how we achieved that in this tutorial. Also, you see how we neatly turned out the inside of this dress to avoid weaving and rough finishings on the inside. You're going to be seeing how we did all of that, all of the turnings in this tutorial. So guys, in order not to waste much of our time, let's get started. Remember, this is the part 2 of this tutorial. If you haven't watched the part 1, please note that it is necessary to watch the part 1 to learn how we drafted this very beautiful dress, how we cut on fabric, so that you can catch up from where we stopped in the part 1. Here is the pattern paper that we drafted on, and in the first part of this video we showed us how we drafted out the basic bodice, and we also taught us how we achieved this square shaped neckline and also how to avoid budges on the neckline. Another thing we also taught us in the first part of this tutorial is how to get that zipper to lay flat on your back. Aside removing the difference between your front and back waist measurements, we also went ahead and taught us how to remove 0.5 inch from the zipper allowance to tighten your waist. Then in the part 1 as well, we went ahead to iron our estate to our fabric, placed our pattern paper on top and cut. And here is the fabric that we cut out, both the lining and the main fabric. As you can see, the lining is 2 inches shorter than the main fabric. And we also left out 1 inch on the sides for our seam allowance. Remember to add seam allowance when you are cutting, because there's no seam allowance in the pattern that we drafted. So after cutting out, the next thing, I went ahead to pin all these pieces together the way it's going to be stitched on the sewing machine. I pinned the 2 side fronts to the center front. I did this on both the main fabric and on the lining. That's how I'm going to be joining them. So I kept the front piece aside. For the back piece, I did not cut my back piece into center back and side back. I used a single back, which means the opening is only on the zipper allowance. So what I just did is to hold down the dart that we took out at the back. So we'll take this to the sewing machine now and join, and we'll be right back to show us what we have. After joining the 2 side fronts to the center fronts, this is what it looks like. This is the lining and the main fabric all joined. The next thing is to go ahead and iron out the seams that we just made. Endeavor to always iron your work. It makes it very neat. So this is what you're going to have after ironing. I did this ironing off camera because we're not going to be wasting our time in this tutorial. So I've ironed my zipper allowance. I ironed the seams that we have on the front where we joined our side fronts to the center front. So when you're ironing the bust part of your front, endeavor to use a bust ham so that you don't straighten out the curve that we have on that bust part. Do this on both lining and main fabric as well. After joining this front piece now, the next thing we're going to be doing is to turn this front piece on the neckline. So as you can see on your screen, I'll place the right sides of both the main fabric and the lining facing each other. When you place it face each other like this, you're going to use your pin and pin it down, starting from the sleeve all the way through the chest down to the other sleeve. So I'll pin it the way I'm going to be stitching on the sewing machine. After pinning it down, what I'm going to do is to take it to the sewing machine and run a stitch using the 1/2 inch seam allowance that I added when I was cutting. So after running that stitch, I'll top stitch on top of the lining. so that the neck will relax very well when I iron. And that's that for the neck part of the front piece. As for the back piece, what I'm going to do now is to open up this zipper allowance that I ironed. You know, Estee makes it gum. So the reason I'm opening it up now is because the first thing we're going to be doing on this back piece is to fix our zipper to the main fabric. Do this on the main fabric alone. We're fixing our zipper this way in order to teach us how to hide our zipper allowance so that our zip will come out very neat. So as you can see me doing on your screen, what I did was place the right side of my zipper facing the right side of my fabric, and then I pinned it down. After pinning, I opened my zip and then faced the right side of the second side of the zipper to the right side of the second side of my back piece. Just like that. It's very simple. So I pinned it upwards on both sides. What I'll do now is take it to the sewing machine and stitch using my zipper foot to stitch very close to the zip. So after stitching, when you zip it, this is how it's going to look on the outside. Ignore how it is now. You know it's pin that is holding it. I'm just showing you how it's going to be. So I'll take it to the sewing machine now and stitch, and I'll bring it back to show us how it looks. So I've stitched my zip to my fabric, and this is what we have. You see, I'm zipping it downwards and upwards so that you can see that it has been stitched, and you can also see the stitch at the edge of my zipper allowance. The reason I ironed first is because I want to know the exact line I am sewing along when I'm stitching, right? So now we're going to go ahead and teach us how to turn this zipper with our lining. So you're going to place the lining right sides facing the right side of the main fabric. So the two right sides are facing each other, right? So you pick it up like this and stitch it all the way down to the end of the zipper. Do not exceed the end of the zipper so that we can turn the down of our dress, okay? So just hold it the way I'm holding it, like this. Start stitching from the neckline downwards. After stitching that one side, you turn it to the other side and stitch the other side as well. So I'll do this one after the other, one at a time. I'll do one side first so that we don't get confused, because this part can be confusing and can be very easy at the same time. It is when you understand it, you'll see how easy it actually is. So now what I just explained, you place it right sides facing each other like this, like you see me doing on your screen, right? So one side will turn one side, the other side will turn the other side, since the zipper is open. It's that simple, right? So now this is what we have after doing one side. What I did here is stitch from the neck, which means I've turned my neck on one side. So I'm going to open it out to the wrong side so that you see how the inside looks. This is what it looks on the inside. I stitched the neck with my 1/2 inch allowance on the neck, and then I stitched alongside my zip with the same zipper allowance I have on my lining and main fabric. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Just place it like this, right side facing each other. The zipper will be in between. That's how it will be easy for you. And endeavor to use a zipper foot. This time when you're stitching, you will make sure to stitch along the thread that you used to stitch the zip. If you follow that thread, it will make it very easy for you. After stitching this second side straight down to have what we have on this other side that I've stitched before, the next thing is to turn the down part. So I'm going to place it right sides facing each other like this and stitch it all the way down, and I'll turn it out on the right side. Very simple. So this is what we have, guys. Our zipper has been fixed. Look how neat it is on the inside and on the outside. If you don't understand my explanation, you can just take it back and play it slowly. Reduce the speed on your settings, right? And as you can see, I've turned the down part of the dress. I'm going to turn it out now to the wrong side so that I'll take this explanation again. You see how we stitched it right side facing each other on the inside. On the zipper allowance, you stop right after your zip. Go to the other side, place it right sides facing each other, the lining facing the main fabric, then stitch it all the way down after sewing the neck, right? And stop after your zipper. And then place the right side of the down, which is the hemline of your dress, facing each other, and stitch. When you now bring it out to the right side, this is what you have. You're turning it out from the side. You know, the sides of our dress is still open. So this is what you're going to have. If you're still fixing your zipper the old way, please use this tutorial to stop that behavior in this new year, so that you will give your clients a very neat job and they will come back for more. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already, so that you get notified for our weekly tutorials that we drop on this channel. So the next thing now is to iron out this dress. You see how simple the back is. We're done with the back. I'm going to keep it aside now and bring back the front. Remember, the only thing we have done for the front is to turn the neck using the lining, right? And I also mentioned to top stitch on the lining. After stitching them together initially, you make a top stitch on the lining, and this is what you have. So I'm going to go ahead now and flip it out to the right side and give it a very good press. I'll press both the front and back. I'm going to do this ironing off camera because I don't want to waste our time. It's just to iron. Press it down with your iron to make it very flat and neat. I'll iron both the back and front. After ironing, the next thing I'll do is to turn the down of my front. Remember, we have not done that. We only did the back. So place it right sides facing each other and stitch, and that will be that for this front and back before we join the two together. So I'll iron now and stitch the front. I'll be right back to show you what we have. So guys, this is what we have. Look how neatly ironed our work is. Endeavor to give your job a good press so that when you finish, the neatness will be showing on both the outside and on the inside. So we've gotten to the interesting part of this tutorial where we're going to be joining the back and front using the turning method to achieve a very neat finish on the inside of our dress. So to turn this dress, the first thing we're going to do is to join it on the shoulder. I guess we already know how to join our shoulder already, but if not, open up the back like this as you see me doing on your screen. Use the back to turn the front. So you're placing the front in between the back that you opened. Place your front inside and use your 0.5 allowance to stitch that shoulder part, and that will be that for the shoulder joining. And after joining the shoulder, we're going to go down to the sides of this dress. You know, there are other ways you can turn this dress by just stitching it straight down from the armhole, and then you use your weaving machine or interlocking machine to weave it, right? But we're not doing that in this tutorial. The first thing we're going to do is to take our body measurements on this dress. Take your waist measurement on the waist part, take your hip measurements, take 9 inch downwards from the waist to take your hip measurements. So after doing all of these measurements, you mark it out with a chalk, and then we are going to start turning. In order for us to turn this very neatly, just like the way we turned our shoulder, using one to turn the other. So the two main fabrics will be stitched together, and the two linings will be stitched together from one armhole to the other. Let me take that again. You're going to place it like this together, the way it's looking. The right sides are facing each other, right? Then we'll open it up and use one to turn the other. This is what I just did on the first part. I just want to show you before I do the second part so that you don't get lost. You see how it's neatly stitched on that part. You will not see where it was stitched because we don't want to weave. Now let me show you again how we did the first part. Place it right sides facing each other like this as I'm holding on the screen. The linings will be together. So the linings will be stitched from this end of the dress. I'll pin it together now. Make sure that end is aligned so that the back will not be longer than the front, right? So after pinning on that hemline, which is the end of our dress, you start pinning upwards, going towards the armhole point. So you pin towards the armhole on the lining because the both lining of front and back are together, and then the both main fabric of front and back are together. So you are going to also stitch it together like that. You see the way I'm pinning it upwards. You will stitch it from one. It's just like you're stitching from one armhole down to the other armhole. This is what we did on the second side to achieve that neat turning that we did. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine now and stitch it. After stitching it like this, everything will now come out through the armhole, and you have a neat turning that we have on this dress. So I'll take it to the sewing machine now and do the turning that I just explained, and the only remaining thing will be to add our sleeves to this dress, and that will be that for this tutorial. Now for the shoulders, remember we have turned the shoulders, so I'm just showing us so that we'll see how it looks. And I've also gone ahead now to stitch the two sides together. And when you open it to the wrong side of the dress, this is what you're going to have. All the zipper allowance, all the side allowance, they are invisibly turned, right? The only open part is the armhole, which can also be covered after attaching the sleeves. This is the sleeves that we'll be using in this tutorial. Is a cap sleeve. We posted the tutorial of how we achieved this sleeve on the channel already, so the link will be in the description box. The link will take you to the tutorial so that you get to see how we drafted and made this cap sleeve. So do well to check it out so that you know how we achieved the sleeve. Now I've attached my sleeves to the sleeve hole that we had open before. So now in order to close down this, remember we are trying to achieve a very neat finishing on the inside. You're going to use a bias tape to tape round this armhole that is still rough, that is not covered yet. So you either use some of the pieces of the fabric you're working with, or you use a bias tape of the same color of the fabric to neatly close down that armhole, and you will see that all of the inside of your outfit is neatly turned. And trust me, when you always deliver a neat job, your clients will come back. That's one of the secrets that we need to know in fashion designing. And if you're not doing this already, endeavor to start it now and thank me later in the comment section. Now that our dress is ready, we've attached the sleeves and everything. The next thing is to attach our applique to beautify this very simple dress. I mentioned it in the part 1 of this tutorial that I initially bought this gold applique because of the inspiration I got, but I later changed my mind. And for the application, you can use this B6000 gum, or you use this other electric candle wax to attach your appliques, and then you later hand tack it with a matching thread so that it doesn't come off after subsequent wash. Right, so what I'm going to do now is to add this cup chain to this point where we joined our side fronts to the center front. You know, we have a stitch there, so this is me just playing around. There's no particular design, there's no particular way you can design your outfit. However you choose to design your outfit is completely your choice. So this is me just working around my instincts and how I felt like I would like it. So I decided to attach cup chains to this point where we have our joinings, and it was an absolute game changer to this dress. I later removed this gold applique because I felt like the gold was overshadowing the whole calmness of this fabric, this applique. At the end of the day, I didn't use it again. I just removed it and I continued with my cup chains because it's the color of the fabric and it actually gave a very cool and calm look to the dress. You can see how I'm applying it. I'm not using the electric candle wax for this. I'm using the B6000 gum, and this is how it came out. And after doing that, I used a matching thread to hand tack it so that it will stay even after subsequent wash. And that's that for this beautiful dress, guys. And you can see how flat the zipper is laying on our back, how neat the inside of the dress is. You have a lot of takeaways from this tutorial. You have a lot of things to learn from this tutorial. Please help us to like this video so that it will be recommended to others out there who the tutorial will be very useful to. So help us to like, share, and let us also know in the comment section what you'd like us to be doing in our next tutorial. And remember to subscribe to iFashi channel, and I'll see you in our next tutorial.